Hello, I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Welcome to America Decides. There is a new and important development to tell you about in the Middle East. Civilians in Gaza, including several American citizens, have, for the first time, been able to enter Egypt through the Rafah border crossing. The Egyptian government partially opened it today for injured Palestinians and several hundred foreign nationals with valid passports. President Biden said he expects to see more evacuations in the coming days.
Working nonstop to get Americans out of Gaza as soon and as safely as possible. This is the result of intense and urgent American diplomacy with our partners in the region.
CBS News' Tina Kraus joins us now from Tel Aviv, Israel. Tina, so good to see you. Please walk us through the latest from the Rafah crossing, and what do we know about Americans still trapped in Gaza?
Major, this is a big humanitarian breakthrough at the Rafah crossing. For 3.5 weeks, that crossing between Gaza and Egypt has been blocked. We know that there are 400 U.S. citizens and their families. That's about 1,000 people in all who have been desperate to get out. So these are foreign passport holders who were allowed to leave today. A handful of Americans, we believe, were among them. How many will be able to leave in the coming days is still unclear, but we do know that it is expected to continue these limited evacuations, these families desperate to get out, before saying that Hamas was the reason they couldn't get out. Now that Egyptians have decided to open the border crossing, it's some good news. And also the humanitarian aid was coming in as the civilians were going out.
Tina, we are still learning more about the refugee camp in northern Gaza that has been the target of Israeli strikes. The Israeli Defense Forces says they killed a Hamas leader and destroyed underground tunnels there. What's the latest from your perspective?
Well, the Jabalia refugee camp is the largest refugee camp in northern Gaza there, and it was hit for a second time today by Israeli airstrikes. So again, sending Palestinian civilians in the area into outrage. They are again digging through the rubble with their bare hands, pulling out civilians, women, and children. Of course, people had been warned to leave this area, but some of them clearly staying behind and were caught up in this conflict. But again, Israel saying they were targeting that Hamas commander who was in part responsible for the October 7th attack. And that's why they continue to hit the area, because they believe more militants are still there. The UN Human Rights Office is concerned, though, that the strikes on the camp could amount to war crimes because of the scale of the destruction and the high number of civilians killed and wounded.
Tina, you have been spending time in Tel Aviv talking to Israelis. How are they coping?
Well, you know, we're almost a month into this now. So October 7th was this massacre that killed 1,400 Israelis, as we know. And people told me that before October 7th here in Israel, they took it one day at a time. Now they're saying they take it one moment at a time. One woman I spoke with said that her nephew is fighting in Gaza right now with Israeli Defense Forces. And she said she is scared. She is scared that he may not come home. She watched the funeral in Jerusalem for one of the IDF soldiers killed. There have been 16 killed in ground operations so far at last count, and we expect there will be more casualties to come. Another Israeli told me today that the ground has been shaken under our feet, but she says she still believes that Israel is the safest place in the world for Jews. Major.
Tina Kraus in Tel Aviv, thank you so very much.